Sorry, guys. I don't see. Oh, boy. Let's see. Did this work? Did this work? Here we go. All right. So I pulled it up. Now I can answer questions if there's any. Hi, you guys. Chef Vanda here, rawandwell. Welcome, welcome. So today I'm making raw vegan chocolate brownies. So yeah, I'm excited. Are you excited? So let's see, anybody joining in? Let me see. I don't see anybody. So, all right, here we go. No matter what. So, we're gonna do everything in the food processor. Super easy recipe. Like 6 ingredients, 7 total. Always make sure this is working before you start. No more crazy. So, give it a pulse. It's working. Always test it out first. So I have here some soaked walnuts. So basically I soaked them overnight in a glass jar with a cover. And what I do is when I use the pods, the vanilla pods, let me show you what I'm talking about. So we got these vanilla pods, right? So usually I score it down the middle and I scrape out what I want to use from inside. And then I save the empty outside skin. And I save it for later in the refrigerator. And then what I do is I use those in the water when I soak my nuts. If I'm making something sweet, I will put the vanilla pod. I'll put a star anise in there and a cinnamon stick and then some distilled water. Close up the jar. Put it in the refrigerator, and I forget about it for a day or so. So, these have been soaked for at least 24 hours in the refrigerator. If you leave them on the counter, they take less time, but I don't recommend leaving it out on the counter. So, I'm going to measure these out. So that's 2 cups. 3 cups. Anybody here with me? That's 4 cups. So it's actually perfect. And I have exactly what my recipe calls for. And you could double this. I wouldn't recommend making it smaller. And you guys know how much I like to make big amounts. So usually I like to double this recipe, but today I only had that many walnuts, so I soaked what I had and that's what I'm using, but it just happens that my original recipe calls for 5 cups of walnuts. So, 5 cups of walnuts. Hi, Perka. So, the next ingredient on the list is dates. So, 12 dates, and I want to make sure there's no pit in there, and sometimes the little butt is on there. So, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I like to make sure that there's no pit, especially if you're using your your Vitamix or your blender, you want to make sure that you don't forget. Sometimes, even though they come pitted already, sometimes there's a pit left in there and it gets caught up on the blade and it makes a big mess and it makes whatever you're making a little bit bitter. So we don't want to do that. So we got 12 dates. Now 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, and you want to make sure that you smell it first every time you use it and make sure it hasn't gone rancid on you. So that's a tablespoon of coconut oil. And then what do we got next? Cocoa powder. So this is half. And then 1 cup of high grade raw cacao. That's a little bit more than a cup there, but I like it chocolatey anyway. So you don't have to be exact. Play around. If you like it less chocolatey, put less chocolate in. Remember, it's your kitchen. So do what goes with your beautiful palate that you got, that you were born with. And then I got some vanilla extract, no alcohol. And I'm gonna do, it calls for 3 teaspoons, so I'm gonna do 3 splashes. 2, 3, okay? So I never work off of a recipe, but since I'm doing it for you, I'm going by my recipe to T. Oh, look at that. Somebody, hi Sally. And hi Deborah. Deb, and Sally, my Portuguese friend Sally. Okay, so that's the first 5 ingredients. I'm also gonna put a pinch or 2 of salt, and that's gonna bring out all the flavors. So just a little bit. If you want to omit it, please, by all means, omit it. And now I'm going to pulse this, and then I'll add the liquid ingredient in there. So I'm going to pulse it, and it's going to create like a batter, like it'll become a ball when it's ready in your food process. But I'm going to pulse it first. Turn it on, and I'm gonna let that go until it comes together in here. And right now I'm gonna add some maple syrup. So this is not raw vegan, but I prefer using this than agave, which is highly processed. What was the first ingredient? Okay, so the first ingredient, here's the ingredients if somebody wants to write it down. Okay, hold on. So here's the ingredients if somebody wants to write it down. It's 5 cups of walnuts soaked, 12 dates, 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, 3/4 cup to 1 cup of cacao powder, raw vegan cacao powder, 3 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and now I'm gonna do the liquid sweetener. So it calls for 1/4 cup of the liquid sweetener. So if you want to use the coconut syrup, that's Also, so they're all processed, all of these that you use. You're better off using just dates. I'm not watching anything, and I don't put myself in boxes, so if I want to use a little bit of maple syrup every once in a while, I use a little bit. Is it the right thing to use? Not really, especially if you're detoxing. Anyway, if you're detoxing, I should have said this at the beginning. This is not a recipe for you because it has the cacao, which is a stimulant. You don't want to do any stimulants when you're detoxing and regenerating. Also, there's nuts in here, so you don't want to have that. And also, there's a little bit of coconut oil. You don't want to have that either if you're detoxing. So like I said, this is not a recipe for you. If you're just trying to get raw and excuse me, and trying to, you know, just be healthy and maintain, then this is a treat that you have every once in a while. I've been craving cacao, some chocolate in my life, and I need that every once in a while. So I'm gonna splurge. I'm really making these for me today. So let's add our, so I hope that answered your question. If somebody wants to do something and write it down, that would be great. I have a tickle in my throat. Sorry, you guys. So I'm not going to put in all of it. I'm just going to see how it goes and then taste it. And if I need more, I'll get more. But right now, I'm going to let this go for a little while. You're welcome, Deb. So, as you see, it's starting to come together. This will come together and almost become a dough. It'll ball up and become a dough. So, you can actually use this like if you're going to make one of those cakes or a raw vegan pie or a cake. You can use this as the first layer on the bottom to coat your pan, and then you put the rest of your layers in there. So you can do that. So I'm gonna test this out, give it a taste. That's really good, but it definitely needs the rest of the maple syrup. And again, if you want to use agave, I don't recommend it. I find it highly processed, almost like corn syrup. It's heated up to high temperatures, and there's no regulations for raw. So you might ask me, well, it says raw on the bottle, but it's not, okay? Because there's no regulations for our world, the raw world. So they could put anything, just like all natural means nothing. If you turn it around and you read the ingredients, there's plenty of stuff in there that's not natural. So, here we go. That little bit there, I think, most definitely did it. And as you can see, it's starting to ball up. You see that? It's balling up. And I'll show you what it looks like. So as soon as, my goodness, as soon as it balls up, if you want to look in there, I'm going to rinse my hands because with this coughing, I got a tickle wickle. Okay, so as you can see, it all came together, and it's like a dough in there. It's all balled up together. So I'm going to give it final taste. Perfect. Not too sweet. Super chocolatey, just like I like it. Okay, did anybody else join in? No. Okay, so I got my dough here. I'm gonna put everything into a Pyrex, but what I want to do is show you a trick. So I put one this way and one the same size the other way. And what this will do, before I put my dough in there, is that, and I'll trim that later, what it's gonna do is it won't stick to the Pyrex, but also it'll make it real easy to remove from here so you could cut them once they set in the refrigerator. So you wanna kinda set it in there. I'm gonna remove this blade before I hurt myself. Always be very careful with these blades. They're super, super, super duper sharp, and they're serrated. So when something is serrated like that, you're not gonna get a clean cut. You're gonna need stitches. So be very, very careful. So as you can see, look. And if I wanted to, I could just form these into little bite-sized balls, and I might leave some of the dough for that if it's too much for in here, and then roll them in whatever you want. Raw sesame seeds, coconut flakes, maybe some cocoa nibs, which I wouldn't do because it would be just overwhelming. And one or two of these will satisfy your chocolate, and it'll satisfy your sweet tooth if you're having enough fruit during the day. You really don't need that much sugar. So that's a little tip for you, but I'm gonna make real brownies today. So what you wanna do is you wanna start right away pushing these, and if you wanted, you would put this in a bowl, right? And then you could add some, maybe some cranberries, some sun-dried cranberries, or any kind of dried fruit. Some, looks like this is gonna be perfect, so I'm not gonna make any balls. I'm just gonna scrape all this up. Want to get every last bit because it's so yummy. So any of you, I don't see anybody, but somebody joins in, you'll have to catch up later. So you want to kind of press them down. So yeah, you could use some dried fruits, or if you like them chunky, you could hold back on some of those walnuts and use them, chop them up a little bit and use them in there if you want them chunky. I just want something almost like a fudge, like super chocolatey and fudgy and yummy. That's what I want. That's what I'm looking for today. So I'm gonna push it in with my fingers so it all holds together and it's all even. And then they're gonna be like 1/4 inch thick in here. So it makes a perfect 9 by 9. Hi, Loli! Hi, Lena! So I'm making, Lena, this one's not for you, but you might want to jot it down, watch and jot it down, and it'll be something to look forward to, something chocolatey and yummy. Or if you're going somewhere, like a potluck or a dinner party or something, this is something good to turn people on to. So you could make it for somebody else, or maybe next time your kids are home. They would love this, let me tell you. So, anyway, I'm making raw vegan chocolate brownies. So, let me wash my hands and show you what I'm gonna do next. So I rinse this off, and this makes a nice flat, or you could use a glass or something like that to press it down further, and so there's no fingerprints on it. So you're kind of just going around, so it's not, there's no fingerprints. Love you, Lena. So that way, and then that's it. So if you wanted to make, like, soak some cashews and make like a little frosting with that, you can do that with some dates and some cashews and some coconut water and make it into a nice, and you can also use even a banana in there, or you could use like strawberries or something and make a little frosting for these if you wanted to. Like I said, I have a chocolate tooth for quite a while now, so I just want chocolate. Chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. So, I'm gonna pull up, my hands are wet, so it's hard, but I wanna get another piece to put on top, because if you just put this in your refrigerator like this, it's gonna pick up flavors from your refrigerator. So I like to put a layer of parchment. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in the refrigerator, and when this sets up a little bit, fold all these bits in here. So don't use plastic, because then you're putting plastic in your food. So use paper, parchment paper, nice and clean. Okay, so that's what it looks like, you guys. That's it. Super easy. 7 ingredients, and some that you could omit. Another thing that you might like is when you're making the dough, when you put the salt in, put a sprinkle or two of cayenne pepper or some habanero chili powder or something like that, to give it a little spice. I like to do that sometimes. It goes really good with chocolate. So there's a lot of things you could do with this. What I'm gonna do is, like I said, I want it plain. That's what I feel like. But I could always change it up and serve it with some strawberries or something like that, or whatever you have. Sprinkle some coconut when I'm serving it, and make maybe a cashew cream or something like that when you serve it, or serve it with a banana cut up. There's so many different things you could do with these, but I'm just gonna put them just like this in the refrigerator. I'm gonna score them right in the pan here when they firm up, like a couple of hours. I'm probably gonna take a piece for myself to snack on. That and you know, put them so they're already cut up individually, but I just leave it in the freezer, and when I feel like chocolate again, which will be a month from now, I could take a piece. So these are gonna last in the freezer for me for a while, unless I get company or something, then they'll get some of this, and that's it. So as you can see, this whole thing, I just want to show you, you could pick it up. So then you just place it on your cutting board when this firms up later. My rock. You put it on your cutting board and you cut it, and then put them in a different Pyrex that has a cover on it, and store them like that in the freezer, so you could take one out and you can cut them as small as you want. 1-inch cubes, 2-inch cubes, whatever. right? So that's your raw vegan chocolate brownies. Thanks for having me. Don't forget, follow the live stream so you get alerts when I go live. And for those, hi Jody, for those of you that just joined in, as soon as I click off, you'll be able to watch the video from start until you catch up. So that's it for today. Thanks for having me. Bye for now.